My little garden lizard. Poor little guys. He's cold. He's in Southern California and it's cold, so he's trying to get a little sun on the rock. You know, he found a rock that he can kind of blend into the color of, and he figures that's the safest he can do. But if anything jumps off and he sees it or hears it, he'll be running. Yeah, I can feel it. Can you see a little bit of sun coming now? Yeah. And something, oh, that's a bird behind him. Wow. It's a little bird behind him. Just, you know, living its best life. I tell you, my garden is alive. Alrighty. It's a few days into the month of April. I gave you a garden tour, but I feel like I really did a work video. So I'm going to walk you through and do a better April garden tour. And I apologize because you guys are watching those videos, at least more than any others gardening videos that I do. So I want to try to do it as best I can, right? But, you know, March was about working in the garden. April is when I start harvesting. You've seen the video where a lot of these were grown from Dollar Tree seeds. This plant is a land crest. You see a lot of radishes. The radish seeds that I threw out did really, really good. And some more rat tail radishes. More radishes. I did a video showing you how I planted my garlic. This is my garlic. They have come up. I think I did an update video. I may pop some of that in here. And now that these are going, I will put some more in there at another time. These are some more radishes. I've been pulling these every day. They're carrots. These are beets. Things grow slowly over here because I don't really fertilize. I just let things. This is a blue Solanase leek. Love the way that looks. And those are giant mustard seeds there. I just cooked this one up. This is a rutabaga. It's like a turnip. And I see something else was seeing if they liked radish, because the radish is growing on the surface. And there's some leeks growing. This is a little stand of leeks growing right next to that. Something else. I showed you that I planted my strawberries. So if you look on the ground, you'll see strawberry leaves popping up where where I planted them. So they're popping up here and there. They kind of naturalize into this setting. My lettuce is now going to seed. Some people call it bolting, but it's starting to flower. I think it's beautiful. I mean, if you can get this red lettuce, it goes to seed faster than other romaines do. I'm gonna let the birds eat those seeds. They will drop them all over my garden. That is how I get this kind of garden. I let things go to seed and the birds eat what they like. And then I have plenty of the foods. I was telling you last month that I was not pulling up my broccoli plants because broccoli is a perennial and it will send up a brand new plant. As you can see, there's the brand new plant that has been sent up. These are the chives that you get from the grocery store. After I eat them, I stick the little piece here in the ground. And eventually it'll take root. It's just the nature of an onion. It will take root. And that is how I get my long-term chives in the garden. I picked up this pink flower plant from the 99-cent store. These were some radishes here. Let me pull back. These were some radishes that I grew here, but these turned out to be some kind of odd mustard greens because they're really short. Maybe those are those spinach mustards that they sent me. They're really short. You don't get much food from them, but you do get food, and they lasted for a good period of time. This is my red celery plant. I cook a lot of soups and stews, and this red celery is good for that. This is a tansy lettuce. I don't know what this is here. It may be that same plant there. It hasn't gone to seed. I just cooked up some of those greens. They were great. This is a kale plant that's growing over here. I don't know what this is, but it's definitely covering a lot of ground. Now let's go over here. More tansy lettuce. And this looks like it may be some more celery, or it could be a spice of some sort. This is miner's lettuce. This is a California native. It grows everywhere for me, and I really enjoy it. This is rat tail radish, but the Asian people refer to it as mustard greens because they eat the greens. You can't tell that now because when the plant goes to flower, as you can see, the leaves die off and it becomes just a panicle of flowers everywhere, which is the stage I'm at now. During this tour, I will definitely show you some of the rat tail radishes. Here I have a whole bunch of kale. This is Russian kale. It went to seed. It takes 2 years for that plant to go to seed in my garden, and it's interdispersed with my celery. Both of those grow with pretty much low water. We had a pipe burst, so we didn't have water for over a week. Couldn't water any of my pots here, but of course my thyme is well established and had no problem with it. I lost a couple of my cabbages, my calabos, but this one here is established enough where it's become drought tolerant. My kale plants, this Russian kale, as you can see, they didn't even notice they weren't being watered. And tansy is a low water lettuce plant once it is established. Same with carrots. Carrots grow they're originally an African plant. I believe Northern Africa maybe, or Eastern Africa, one of the two. But you don't have to water them. They just take the water from their root. And this one is putting on a beautiful floral display. I did grow this carrot for the leaf because parsley requires just a little bit more water than carrot does. So I just use carrot leaf instead of parsley as a seasoning. You know, you make do with what you have. And on top of that, this is my sweet bay. Let me make sure you know which one it is because there's a big plant. This is sweet bay. You normally see these leaves in the grocery store. Highly advise anybody who's willing to deal with a drought tolerant low water plant to grow a sweet bay in a pot. If you have a whole bunch of space and land and you live in a Mediterranean environment, I think it would be a wonderful tree for your garden as well. Over here, this is my cilantro patch, and it's doing well. It's doing well with low water. I'm now going to start watering once a week because we are into spring and I want to keep everything. It's my collard greens. You've seen a lot of times of me planting, me pulling collard greens, and I've shown you so many collard green recipes. And there are my strawberries. You can see they are flowering. It is early April, so it makes sense that they're flowering. This plant, which was the one I was eating all the time, it fell. So I guess some animal pushed it over and it just fell onto the ground. But it is flowering now, so I'm just going to leave it and let it go that way because I don't know of any way to stake it, and it looks like it's going to be just fine. Here are some more of my carrots, and this plant here is growing out, and I'm hoping this is a Brussels sprout here because it looks different from my calabos. I didn't know. I had planted quite a few of them. I lost some in the rain, but I mean when I didn't water, I lost some. But I'm trying to show you this over here. It's more carrots. I just had to get you into the shade. I do a lot of partial shade gardening. Hey there. That is in that shade there. You see my squash coming up. I don't know which one it is. I planted some Dollar Tree squash, and I planted some fancy zucchinis, and I don't know which one it is. I'm guessing it's the zucchinis because, you know, those are fancy seeds. Over there is another, probably, I'm hoping it is a Brussels sprout. And this overwintered from last year, and it's been coming out with an occasional flower, and I'm happy about that. There's a plant here, I don't know what it is. It looks quite tree-like, actually. I'm not gonna worry about it. If it turns out to be a tree, I will replant it when it gets big enough to a spot that I want. It's another one, I think it's a Brussels sprout. I didn't do so well with the calivos. Looks like I only got one of those. And some more carrots over there. My parsnips grew from seeds. The bees really like parsnips, so they were spreading the seeds everywhere. I gotta get where you can see these shady coves. This is my tomatoes. I grow my tomatoes in partial shade, as you can see. And it's growing pretty big there. And if you're wondering if it will fruit, if you look closely, you'll see flowers all over it. And because I have such a huge bee population, because I let everything go to seed, there's a guarantee that any flower in my garden will be pollinated because the bees will be passing by. That red flower there is a chrysanthemum. I just recently cut those plants back. I have to keep them trimmed. In the back there's my blueberry. Some more parsnips. I'm walking into my raspberries. You see the raspberries are starting to bud out. They're leafing out, that is. All of these, as you can see, were not dead. They are actually leafing out, slowly but surely. Here's my peas. And these raspberries never lost their leaves, and they are now in flower. These are raspberry flowers. I think there might actually be a, yeah, there's a raspberry. So those are pretty well along. That's gonna be fun. These will be the first red raspberries I've grown in the ground. I normally grow them in the pot. And this is a bunch of miner's lettuce, oregano, and spearmint. Oregano is a ground cover. Miner's lettuce is the lighter green, and the spearmint is the one that's up high. This is my spinach here. It's naturalized. Those are some kale. These are some things that grew on their own, and I like them. Over here is my Melissa growing there on the ground. That's Melissa. There's a strawberry growing with the blackberry. This is blackberry. There's a blackberry blossom. Hadn't noticed that. Usually those come all at once, so I'm kind of shocked to see it. Lemon blossom, if you're wondering what they look like. And we have a ton of lemons here. This is an old bean that I never harvested. It's sitting there. It's been there all winter long. That's funny. More strawberries. I planted 25 strawberry plants, and I think most of them came up just fine. Fava beans. I did a haul of getting the fava beans. I see something's kind of eating the leaves. I'm not worried about that, but all the plants came up fine. That's my potato. I planted potatoes like 2 or 3 years ago, and my back wasn't good enough to harvest them, so I just left them. And more strawberries. These are my peas that I planted from my Dollar Tree seeds, and these made it past the rabbit. I guess the rabbit thought this was an unsafe corner. Behind it, you see potatoes. As I told you, I didn't pull them potatoes, so some of them, well, looks like a lot of them came back. That's rocket there. I like that in my salad. The Kentucky Wonder. I think I got about 10 of those up from the packet I planted, and they seem to have made it through the drought there. I'm trying to show them to you. These are my these are my sweet potatoes that are coming back up. They like it a little bit warmer, so they're just now kind of making their presence known. Those leaves are highly edible, and creatures do eat them. I compost in place, so that's what I'm doing there, because that's my papaya. I got a tree that grew from seed in my garden. I don't know what it is, but I transplanted it. You may have seen the transplant video. All of these are all in the carrot family. These are parsnips. This is my wheat. I know it's not much. It didn't grow fast enough to outdo the birds, so they ate most of it. But I got now. These are my rat tail radishes. This is what this is actually grown for by American. These taste like radish. They're sweet. They're not too hot. And The birds are already going for him.